Hello guys. So now we shall be discussing what are the different kinds of lobes and lobules that the cerebellum is having. Okay. So by the way, let us just quickly revise what are the different kinds of surfaces. For example, this surface which you can see is called as the lateral weave. Okay. And this surface which you can see, this is called as the superior surface. In this superior surface, you see this part of the cerebellum is called as a right superior cerebellar hemisphere. This part of the cerebellum is called as your left superior cerebellar hemisphere, and the middle part whatever you can see is called as your vermis. Vermis itself is called as a third lobe. Okay. So how many lobes we have got? Right cerebellar hemisphere, left cerebellar hemisphere, and the another lobe, that is the vermis. I will tell you later on. Down we have got another lobe that is called as, beneath the vermis we have got another lobe that is called as Flocculonodular lobe. I will tell you that thing, right? So don't include vermis into this. Don't think vermis itself is a lobe. No, I will tell you in a minute. Okay. This is from the posterior view. This is from the posterior view. You can see two important things. You see this, there is a border that is starting anteriorly and sliding down laterally like this, right? So this surface is called as a superior surface, and this surface is called as your inferior surface. Inferior surface. Okay. Now, so this is your superior surface and this is your complete inferior surface. Okay. So now what we shall do is that we shall draw such a picture where we can see both the superior surface as well as the inferior surface. It means I will draw this particular picture over here. For example, what I will do is that, see, as I already told you again, so this is your superior surface, this is your inferior surface, right? So if you have to see the superior and inferior very clearly, what will I do? For example, I will straighten my fingers. When I straighten my fingers, above this MCP joint, this is the superior surface, below this is the inferior surface. So this is a picture which I am going to draw right now. Okay. So let us see now. So obviously in the center, the structure which you have got over here is your vermis. Okay. And after that, here you have got a circle, let us say. Right. So little bit draw this. Right. So all of you know that if this is a cerebellum, right? Let us say that you already know one very important thing. What is that important thing? That is, here we have got a very important structure, right, which is dividing the cerebellum into right and left half, right, or not right and left half, the superior surface as well as the inferior surface. What is that fissure called as? Horizontal fissure. I think we have already discussed about that, right? So let us say, you see this fissure which I am drawing right now is your horizontal fissure. You see this fissure over here is called as your horizontal fissure. This fissure over here is called as your horizontal fissure. Okay. Next, in the center over here, in the center, this entire part is called as your vermis. So what is this entire part called as? This is called as your vermis. And second important thing is that, let me rub this a little bit here so that you will completely understand the structure. So this is one important structure and this is another important structure. Just beneath these structures, here we have got another important structure like this. Yeah. So this completes the picture. Now what are the important things which you need to know? So this center part, whatever I have drawn here, is called as your vermis. The center part is called as your vermis. And the next important thing, this part over here is called as your horizontal fissure. Horizontal fissure. This part is called as your horizontal fissure. Okay. Now after that, this center part is called as your vermis. All of you know. This is called as your vermis. Vermis is divided into lobules. How many lobules the vermis is divided? Vermis is divided into 9 different lobules. For example, let us say, you see this is one lobule, right? Here you have got the second lobule, here you have got the third lobule, here you have got the fourth and the fifth lobule, and down here you have got the sixth lobule, and then you have got the seventh lobule, and this is your eighth and ninth lobule. So let me number it. This is called as the first, second, third, fourth, and this one is called as a fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth as well as ninth. So how many lobules do we have completely? We have got 9 lobules completely. Okay, so let me little bit enlarge this picture. So completely we have got how many lobules? Completely we have got our 9 lobules over here. So this one is your horizontal fissure. Okay, this one is your horizontal and this is your vermis, right? So these are completely 9 lobules. Now after drawing these lobules, one very small correction which we have to do over here is that these are not straight. So let me straighten this. Right. Still, if it is not straight, then it's fine, nothing is going to happen. The concept is important over here, right? So important thing is that here this vermis is divided into 9 lobules. Not only vermis dividing into 9 lobules, each cerebellar hemisphere is also divided into some lobules with the help of the sulcus. Okay. For example, I will name the sulcus later. For example, just look at the sulcus. For example, from the second lower part of the second lobule of the vermis, from there we have got a sulcus that is touching all the way here. Okay, this is one sulcus. And after that, from the third part over here also, we have got another sulcus that is going and touching here. Okay, you see sulcus is dividing the cerebellar hemisphere into lobules, right? And fourth important thing is that here also we have got another important sulcus like this. I will name each and every sulcus later on. Okay. Next, between the fifth and sixth, we have got the horizontal fissure, right? And next, between the sixth and the seventh also, we have got a fissure like this, right? So, I'm sorry if I am mistaken. These are not sulcus, these are not sulci, these are fissures, okay? So, right cerebellar hemisphere and left cerebellar hemisphere, each hemisphere is divided into different lobules with the help of what? With the help of fissures, okay? Right. Next important thing, between 7th and 8th we don't have 8th and 9th, that's it. These are the important fissures which you can see. Now here, first important thing you have to pay attention is that this part is called as the superior surface. Superior surface. So this is what I told you, right? So I have opened my fingers, this is the superior surface, this is the inferior surface. So this entire part is called as your inferior surface, superior surface and inferior surface. Okay. Next important thing is this is your horizontal fissure. Next, after that you see a fissure that is present here, right? So let me highlight this fissure. You see this triangular fissure that is present on either sides, right? So this fissure is in the form of a tongue. That is why you call this as posterior lingual fissure. Okay, you call this fissure as posterior lingual fissure. Posterior lingual fissure. You call this as posterior lingual fissure. Now, after that, when you come down here, you see these two bodies over here, right? You see these two structures which are in the form of a rounded bodies. So what are these rounded bodies over here, guys? So these rounded bodies over here are nothing but called as your tonsils. Okay, so these rounded bodies are nothing but called as your tonsils. So how many tonsils we have got? These are called as cerebellar tonsils. How many tonsils we have got? We have got a right tonsil, we have got a left cerebellar tonsil. Okay, right. So these are done. Now, after that, what we will do? What we will do is that first of all, we will name each and every lobule of the vermis, and after that we will come to the cerebellar hemispheres. Okay. So, how many lobules of the vermis we have got? We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the superior surface. We have got 6, 7, 8, 9 on the inferior surface. Okay. So, how many on the superior and how many on the inferior? On the superior we have got 5 and 4 on the inferior surface. So, let us write down what are the different kinds of lobules. Lobules of your vermis. Lobules of your vermis. So, we shall discuss it like this. Lobules of the vermis are divided into two groups. one is called as a superior surface and the other one is called as a inferior surface. Superior surface lobules and the next one is called as your inferior surface lobules. So what are the superior surface lobules? Let us say 1, 2, 3, 4 as well as 5. So this first one, right, you see this first one is called as lingula. Okay, what is this first one called as? This first one is called as lingula. Okay, after that the second one, this small second portion which you can see, this second one which I am drawing with the green, this one is called as central lobule. Okay, this second one is called as central lobule. You just have to memorize them, nothing to do. You can call it as central lobule. Okay, now after this, the third one over here, you see this third one over here is called as culmen. Okay, what is this third one over here called as? Third one over here is called as culmen. Third one over here is called as culmen. Now after the culmen, the fourth important one, everyone has got a different name, right? So these names are really tricky to remember, but you have to remember it. So the fourth one over here is called as declive. The fourth lobule of the vermis is called as what? Declive. This is called as declive. Okay. Next important thing, the fifth one. Okay, let us go for the fifth now. The fifth one over here is called as folium. Okay, the fifth one over here is called as your folium. Fifth one is called as folium. So these are the lobules that are present on the superior surface of the vermis, right? Now we shall discuss the lobules that are present on the inferior surface of the vermis. So inferior surface of the vermis, that is 6, 7, 8 and 9. So what are the lobules that are present on the inferior surface? For example, lobule number 6. When you look at the lobule number 6, this part is called as tuber. Okay, lobule number 6 is called as tuber. Lobule number 6 is called as tuber. Lobule number 7, this is your lobule number 7, right? Lobule number 7 is called as pyramid. Okay, lobule number 7 is called as pyramid. And finally, the lobule number 8. Lobule number 8 is called as uvula. Okay, what is lobule number 8 called? That is called as uvula. And finally, the lobule number 9 is called as nodule. So lobule number 9 here is called as your nodule. So how many lobules we have got totally in the vermis? We have got 9 lobules. So superior surface we have got 5 lobules. Inferior surface we have got 4 lobules. Okay, so these are the lobules which we have basically got. Now let us look at the other structures. So this structure which you can see here is called as a posterior lingual fissure. Now all of you also can see a fissure over here. You see a fissure over here, right? This fissure is called as posterolateral fissure. Posterolateral fissure. So what is the name of this fissure called? This fissure is called as posterolateral fissure. This is called posterior lingual fissure and this is called as posterolateral fissure. And what is this particular structure called as? This particular structure is called as peduncle. This particular structure is called as peduncle. And what is this one called as? This one is called as flocculus. This is called as flocculus. Now listen to one very important thing. Now what I am telling you is peduncle. Okay, this is called as peduncle, and on side to that you have got flocculus, peduncle, flocculus, plus you see the ninth lobule over here, ninth lobule of the vermis. So peduncle, flocculus and this ninth lobule together you call this lobe as flocculonodular lobe. Flocculonodular lobe. You see how many important things we have got over here. So what is how many lobes we have got in the cerebellum? We have got the right cerebellar hemisphere, left cerebellar hemisphere, and third important thing we have got is a flocculonodular lobe. Flocculonodular lobe in the sense, three important things over here again. What are those three important things? One is called as your peduncle, one is called as your flocculus, and another one is called as your ninth lobule of the vermis. Together you call them as a flocculonodular lobe. Okay, so these are the structures which you need to know. Now, apart from these structures, we have to name what are the names of these fissures over here. These fissures are very important. For example, let us say what is this fissure that is called? What is this fissure? This fissure starts from the lower border of the second lobule. You see, this is a second lobule. It is starting from the lower portion of the second lobule, right? So this fissure starts in the lower border of the second lobule. What is the second lobule called as? Second lobule is called as central lobule. Now tell me, this fissure is behind the central lobule or in front of the central lobule? This fissure is behind the central lobule. So behind is called post central fissure. Post central fissure. This is called as your post central fissure. Now after the post central fissure, the third important fissure, you see this fissure which you can see over here is called as fissura prima. Okay, this is called as fissura prima. This fissure over here is called as your fissura prima. Okay, now once after fissura prima is done, what is this fissure called as? This fissure is lunate shaped, yes, on a half moon shaped. That is why you call this as post lunate fissure. This fissure you call it as a post lunate fissure, and the next fissure you call it as a horizontal fissure. And after that this particular fissure that is present just below the sixth is called as, what is this fissure called as? Look at what is the seventh one called as. Seventh one is called as pyramid. Now this fissure is present after the pyramid or before the pyramid? This is present before the pyramid, so you call it as pre-pyramidal fissure. This one you call it as pre-pyramidal fissure. Okay, so this fissure you called as pre-pyramidal fissure, and obviously these two are called as your tonsils. Now, so these are the fissures which we have discussed. What are the different kinds of fissures which we have discussed over here? We have discussed one is called as a posterior lingual fissure. Next we have got the posterior post central fissure. Next we have got the fissura prima. Next posterior lunate fissure, horizontal fissure. Next we have got the pre-pyramidal fissure. So these are the different kinds of fissures which we have discussed. Now after the discussion of the fissures, we shall discuss, you know that these fissures divide the cerebellum into different kinds of lobules. So let us discuss what are the different kinds of lobules. For example, just on either side of the second lobule, second lobule of the vermis, you see this second lobule of the vermis on the right and left of this, right, it is accompanied by another fissure like this, right? Not a fissure, this is a lobule. You see this part which I am shading right now. So this shaded part, green shaded part, whatever I have given it right now, this green shade is the lobule that is present on either side of the second lobule of the vermis. So vermis has got second lobule. On either side of the second lobule, this area of cerebellum, okay, this area of cerebellum is called as ala. Okay, let me just write it down here itself. This is called as ala. This is called as ala. Now after that, if you see the second important thing, this thing on either side of the third lobule, so this part of the cerebellar hemisphere is called as quadrangular lobe. What is this lobe called as? This lobe is called as quadrangular lobule. This lobe is called as quadrangular lobule. After that, the third important one which we have over here, you see this, right? So where is this thing present? This is present just adjacent to the fourth important one, right? This is present adjacent to the fourth lobule. So what is this lobule of the cerebellum called as? This lobule of the cerebellum is called as lobulus simplex. So this one over here is called as, let me write it here, this is called as lobulus simplex. So we have got lobulus simplex on the right, we have got lobulus simplex on the left. Next, after that, if you very clearly see, right, you can even figure out there is one more lobule all the way here adjacent to the sixth, right? So you can see a lobule that is present adjacent to the sixth, right? So this one over here is called as inferior semilunar lobule. Semilunar lobule. I hope you can relate it. Why it is called semilunar? Because it is semilunar shaped. Okay. Next, the last important lobule which you can see over here, this one, this seventh one. Okay. So where do you think this lobule is present? Yeah, this lobule is present on either side of the 8th and either side of the 7th, right? So this green color shaded one, right? So this lobule over here which I have shaded over here, this is called as biventral lobule. Biventral lobule. So this lobule over here is called as your biventral lobule, right? So once again guys, just let us recap all the things which we have discussed over here. And by the way, we forgot to discuss one important lobule. So this lobule which you can see over here, right? So this particular lobule which is on either side of the fifth, right? So this lobule over here is called as superior semilunar lobule. So this is something that is the memory part which you just have to revise and recite, okay? So this is called as superior semilunar lobule. Superior semilunar lobule. So let us just revise what are the important things we have discussed. These are two cerebellar hemispheres, and in the center you have got this particular structure called as vermis, okay? Vermis is divided into how many lobules? It is divided into 9. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as well as 9 lobules, okay? Next, this triangular area, this gap whatever is there here, this is having a fissure called as posterior lingual fissure, okay? Posterior lingual fissure. And next important thing, if you can closely observe here, second lobule is accompanied by ala, third lobule is accompanied by quadrangular lobule, fourth lobule is accompanied by lobus simplex, fifth lobule is accompanied by superior semilunar lobule, sixth lobule is accompanied by inferior semilunar lobule, seventh and eighth is accompanied by biventral lobule. But if you can look over here, and ninth is accompanied by the tonsils on either side. If you can look over here, first lobule is not accompanied by any other lobule on the side. It is only accompanied by what? It is only accompanied by the posterior lingual fissure on either side, right? So what are the names? The first one is called as the lingula, the second one is called as the central lobule, third one is called as the culmen, fourth one is called as the declive, next folium. These are the lobules that are present superiorly, okay? In the same way, 6, 7, 8, 9, these are the lobules that are present on the inferior surface, inferiorly, okay? So peduncle, folliculus, flocculus and the ninth together, all of them are called as a flocculonodular lobe. So next important thing is that what are these fissures called as? The fissure that is present between 2 and 3 is called post-central fissure. Why post-central? Because it is behind the second lobule. Second lobule is what? Second lobule is called central lobule. So behind the central lobule you call it as post-central fissure. Next, third one is called as fissura prima. This is a very important fissure. Fourth important one is called as here post-lunate fissure, okay? Next important thing is pre-pyramidal fissure. So these are some of the very important structures which you need to know regarding the lobes and the lobules of the cerebellum. So thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.